Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. This is Ori Tala, and this is the STL styled mural that I did about almost a couple months ago now, but really about a month ago. So right here I'm scaling and outlining the Clydesdale horse, which is a symbol from Anheuser-Busch. It's a mascot for the Anheuser-Busch Budweiser Bud Light beer. But this client, had a lot of St. Louis style things in his home, so I just kind of meshed the likes of it and made sure he liked the scaling of it and how even laid out it was with the wall, even though it wasn't centered with the opening of that space, but it was centered with the entirety of the wall. So I just was checking in on that, making sure the proportions were right, and pretty much layered that. And then the fleur de lis that's right underneath that horse, it's like, you can kind of vaguely see it, but as this goes on, you'll be able to see more and more of the layering of it, as this is a time lapse. So obviously this did not get done as fast as it's showing in this video. But yeah, right here I'm doing the Cardinal bird because the Cardinals baseball team here in St. Louis, and then the cityscape with the arch, of course, and getting up and down this ladder, like, it's a full-on workout, homies. Like, it's wild. So there's been so much work that was put into this, and I just want to say, know y'all's worth, step into it more, and do not play yourself, because this definitely tested that big time. I definitely played myself a little too much with this one, with something at this scale, and that took as much time. And then doing a rush job within like 2 weeks' time, because the client was going out of town afterwards. So please, artists, do not play yourselves. Really think about, don't open your mouth too quick with clients, and don't give them a starting price. Just give them a price. And then let them know the foundations, have that paperwork ready, have that contract ready. And yeah, don't play yourself, because by all means, people love to take advantage of people like artists. It is an investment. It is that wholeheartedly. So yeah, this is where I'm filling in and outlining more prominently all of the horse's features, the hooves, especially starting off the legs, and the body. And I already filled in the cityscape, as you saw. It looks kind of black, but it's more of like a dark blue. I was trying to blend with what art I saw around the house and the tiles that I saw on the floor with the fleur de lis. That's why I added that fleur de lis to it as well. That's diamond shaped, or has a rhombus. And then the fleur de lis within the diamond, because it's the tiles that mimicked it on the floor that he had. But besides that, I'm filling in the horse here, as you can see, and there's like, I got these paints, and it would have taken me way less time if I would have got the right brushes, but I'm not mad about the scaling of the brushes, because the sizes really did help me do the shading and things well on it. But it is good to have a selection of more versus less when working on the scales this big. And so again, know your worth and not play yourself. And if you're going to have a lower end price, have a lower end price. But honestly, don't even do that. People who are meant for you are going to stick around. And people who are not, just let them go. But yeah, for this, I did do a lot of filling in for the first few days, and then layering it after the days following. So this is probably about day 2 or 3 that I'm doing this. Because the first day was just scaling and outlining with like a marker, and then coming back day 2 and 3 with filling in the majority of this horse and the cityscape, and then following that with the cardinal bird. But yeah, I'm doing a lot here, getting up and down this ladder. It's a lot of busy work. That's the other thing about this, is like, when you have to do all of these things so far as ladder, like proportions, all these layering of days, sometimes it's best to quote your client at your hourly rate versus just at a flat rate. But that's obviously up to you as the artist, and also the scale of the piece that you're doing. So you determine that wholeheartedly, and you do not play yourself, and you know your worthiness is measured, because everybody's worth is setting the bar for yourselves is the most important, because people will follow through on that. And yeah, that's the testament, for real. Keeping up with all that you can do and being reassuring that the right people will come through on that. So right here, I'm just like outlining and making it a lot more 2D versus just a flat piece, and then even following this with making it a little bit more 3-dimensional almost. But yeah, it's like over 2D because it's on the wall, and I'm not using any mixed mediums to create more of a 3-dimensional look to this piece, but it's definitely as realistic as I could get it, and I think I did an awesome job filling in and making this as realistic and as like proportionate as possible, considering the wall size and how often I had to get on this ladder. But yeah, so yeah, filling on the tail. When wispy hairs are happening, it is annoying, I'm not gonna lie. Like trying to like do the flicker of like lines and stuff is kind of difficult when it's like fine hair versus like curly hair. I will say that as someone who is Black and Indigenous and has to constantly switch up things. That's why I'm kind of used to doing more clients that are Black and brown. I'm not against anybody else, but yeah, anyways, I'm doing this cardinal and layering out that, as well as the shadows and highlights of this horse that follow that. There's a lot of moving and shaking in this, and then doing some shadow building of the proportions of this horse. Again, I never did a horse before. This is the first time doing a horse at this scale, and that was something new. This is definitely a challenge amongst so many things, especially while in mania with my bipolar episode. So it's a lot going on, because I didn't start off that way, but it did end up that way. It slowly started to decline because I was taking measures for myself to do well, but for the most part, it is very important, and something I want to emphasize on this channel even more is how creative people and multi-passionate people like myself need to lean into our creative mode when in episodes like Mania and such, because a lot of it that's people see on the internet and that's comes up as like violent, heavy, horrid things, and I'm not that at all. And I think it's a lot of just like negligence and not being as reassured in life. So a lot of it comes down to it's about like the safety net of people in your surroundings. Your environment has a big affliction of how that looks, and affects a lot of this process and creativeness and being yourself and being embraced in community. But yeah, right here I am definitely doing some highlights on the back of the horse. Again, doing my best to create this 2-dimensional look with highlighting the belly and doing stuff as accurately to the reference photo of the Clydesdale horse, and highlighting the belly and the back and the butt and a little bit of the head, and so many things. And then even that with the shadowing of it, layering it really well so it's all kind of coming out and looking like he's like paused in motion in this hierarchical scale that he is in, as this bigger than life piece with this mural. So again, with the highlights and creating kind of that like textured hair look, was kind of difficult, but not too bad. And then having to layer the shadows with the legs and the body was really interesting, but not too bad once I kind of got the colors together on the palette to keep creating that two-dimensional look, and breaking him out a lot more, making it look a lot more real, and scaling him out to be the best Clydesdale that anyone's seen on a wall like this. And then right here, I'm just like double layering the background and making sure I have all the fine details of the cityscape of St. Louis in there. Make sure the arch is balanced and that the feet of the cardinal are on there. And then going back to the shadowing of the legs for the Clydesdale. It's a lot of like working up to go down. Because when you work down, when you start at the bottom and work up, you can kind of smear things, and just all about knowing how to process and do the process and executing it well. But yeah, after this point, I was drawing in the grass to kind of just make it a lot more 2D, and creating that bit of vibrancy with colors as well, since he had some plant life in there. Just really trying to layer it with all of the colors and bringing it together with what he already had in his home. And I'm doing the lights, like kind of like night lights of the buildings in the cityscape there. And then touching up on the fleur-de-lis, because St. Louis, Louisiana Purchase, French territory, all things St. Louis here, quite literally almost, besides the blues. But yeah, there's a lot of going back and forth. There's a lot of making sure I'm hydrated, and then layering this fleur-de-lis that matches the tiles on the floor in this rhombus diamond shape. But yeah, a lot of highlighting and touching up and making sure the details are exquisite. So even with the price point of this piece, I am still going to do my best, because it's all about that. It's still about giving the best that I can do and still knowing where I need to draw the line and have boundaries, because this definitely taught me that big time. But look at that horse. It looks amazing with all of that. So yeah, feel free. Please like and subscribe. Thank y'all for watching so much. I know this took a minute, but peace, love, and stars.